बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. Let us pray. Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Gurave Namaha. Acharya Mam Vijaniya Navamanyet Karich Namartya Buddhya Suyet Sarvadev Mayo Guru. I bow down to my Guru Dev again and again. Bhagavan Sri Krishna said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, know the Guru to be myself. Do not use your material minds to comprehend the divine actions, for all forms of God dwell within the Guru. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudakshate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om, this is perfect, that is perfect. Out of perfect only perfect comes. Yet after having taken perfect out of perfect, it is still the perfect that remains. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyoti Gamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Bhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om, this world, the higher world, the highest world, that sun, the adorable one, on the glory of that luminous one we meditate. May he endow us with pure intelligence. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vijito bhanti kuto yamagni tam eva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvam vidam vibhati. Where shines the self, shines not the sun, nor the moon, nor the stars, nor the lightning, much less this terrestrial fire. For it is that one inner self of all beings which illuminates every particle of this universe. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhagyate. May all be happy. May all be free from sickness and illnesses. May we only see that which is spiritually uplifting, and may misery and sorrow not be anyone's lot. Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupini avatar avarishtaya Shri Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Salutations to Bhagavan Shri Ramakrishna, the Yuga Avatar, the Avatar of this age, the one who has come to teach to mankind the harmony and the unity that underlies every religion and every faith. Unto thee, O Lord, we offer our humble salutations. Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. Sitaram, Namaste, Assalamu alaikum, good evening. This evening we bid you welcome to this night of our week and of celebrating and reminiscing about the life of my late brother Surendra Kumar Jagdeo, also known as John. We welcome all of you from wherever you have tuned in, from Guyana, from the Netherlands, from the UK, from the different states of the United States. We welcome you and we thank you for all your prayers, the love that you have shown us, the support. And if prayers could have saved my brother, he would have been here. If money could have saved him, he would have been here. And I'm sure whatever we did was humanly possible, but we know that God has his own plans for him. We in our selfishness would want to keep him in samsara, but maybe I'm sure that he's in a better place. As I said last night, we believe in karma, and we believe that good karma produces punya, merit, and that merit we take with us to the heavenly regions. And when that merit, that credit is exhausted, so to speak, we take birth again in this Mrityulok to work out our salvation, to work towards self-realization, mukti, God realization, whatever you want to call it. This evening we are joined physically by Pandit Satish Deo and Baba. My pranam to you. You've always been a tower of strength to us in these times, along with our Kul Guru, Pandit Satyanand, along with my dear son and my brother of Yogi, Pandit Ganeshwar, Ram Sahai, and all the Pandits who have been with us night after night, Pandit Prabhudev Sharma, etc., and giving us strength and support during this very, very difficult time. As I said last night again, I want to remember my dear friend Terry Charan, classmate, who passed away 2 days ago. And it seems like I've been hit with a second arrow at his passing. We were in the same class for 5 years. We renewed our friendship and I came over here for about 17 years. It's been a permanent fixture in my life. And it's like being hit by a second arrow. And as if someone is twitching the knife, so to speak, that is already wrenching in my being. So we remember him and we also pray for that Jivatma, wherever it may be. And so we continue this evening with the celebration of my brother's life. And those of you who have indicated that you would like to make contributions, please be on the alert so that when we call on you, we can do so without much time wasting. To begin this evening, we're going to do a bhajan that is very prayerful. It is one that asks for light, for knowledge. आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान. O Lord, much of what we are going through in this samsara is because of a lack of knowledge. Sadness, fear, all these things are caused by ignorance. By ignorance, I mean not knowing. When we know, when we have knowledge, then fear will go away, and with fear will also go away the suffering that we feel. And that's why Bhagavan Sri Krishna said in chapter 2 and verse 11 of Bhagavad Gita, Asoshan Anvasochastvam Prajnavadamscha Vasase Gatasun Agatasumscha Nanu Sochanti Panditaha. He says, "Oh Arjun, you speak wise words, speak like a pandit, but actually, a pandit does not grieve like you are grieving right now. The state that you are in, if you had knowledge, you will not have been in that state. And so, knowledge helps us to avoid excessive grieving and things of that nature." So, we begin with this wonderful bhajan. What do you see, Sharon? आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। भटक रहे हम राह दिखा दे भगवान, राह दिखा दे। कदम कदम पर किरण दिखा दे भगवान, किरण दिखा दे। हो कदम कदम पर किरण दिखा दे भगवान, किरण दिखा दे। को प्रभु करा दे। ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। हमको है संतान तिहारे, प्रभु संतान तिहारे। तेरी दया से हम अधिकारे, प्रभु है हम अधिकारे। हो तेरी दया से हम अधिकारे, प्रभु है हम अधिकारे। दुनिया होवे सुखी हमारे, दुनिया होवे सुखी हमारी। ऐसा दे बलिदान, आज मेरे ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। आज मेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। Thank you, Yogi, for chorusing me. And Anil, who has been with us night after night, playing the dholak and also helping out with the technical part of our program. We are fortunate that we have had many, many memories from my brother John. And over the nights, we have been singing some of his favorite bhajans and songs. Actually, we have the first of his bhajans that he made his debut with, not on record, unfortunately. We have his last song that he sang on record, I think, which we keep as a surprise. We will probably play the last night of the week. And John's song was being played, Chal Chal Re Musafir, while his funeral procession was going on. What a remarkable life. Some things came together, as it were. You know, the hand of God was seen in some of these things. This song that I'm going to sing now is the first song that John sang, actually, and I taught him this song, and he was very proud of doing it. And so this is the first song that he made his singing debut with, so to speak. Twameva Mata Shapita Twameva Twameva Bandhuscha Sakha Twameva Twameva Vidya Dravinam Twameva Twameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Jinnike Devi Jai Shri Ram Base Naur ko naam liyo naliyo Jinnike Devi और खुदा लियो दिल के हृदय मेरा बसे और खुदा लियो दिल के हृदय मेरा मांगे तुमसे सीखा कोई मांग रहा प्रभु से माया कोई कन्या धन को दान दियो कन्या धन को दान दियो और तो दान दियो दियो और खुदा घर में बैठा नमन करे कोई हरि मंदिर में भजन करे कोई घर में बैठा नमन करे कोई हरि मंदिर में भजन करे कोई गंगा जमुना स्नान करे जाके स्नान करे माता पिता की सेवा की दिल माता पिता की सेवा की तीरथ सावतियों नैयों दिल और सुना contribute to my late brother. We've done that wonderful bhajan, one that he loved very much. Like I said, it was the very first bhajan that he learned and that he made his debut on. Without much further ado, I have great pleasure in handing over the program to my son, Yogeshwar, who has been doing a wonderful job for us night after night and in so many different ways. Over to you.
Thank you very much for singing so beautifully for us this evening and every evening thus far. Thank you so much for sharing these wonderful memories about our dear late Chacha John. Um, I remember Papa telling me this story about how he taught Chacha John to sing his first bhajan, and it was this. I don't think it could have been any more of a beautiful bhajan than this one for him to learn as his first bhajan. And the rest we know is history, of course. Chacha John went on to become one of the most sought after bhajan singers in the upper Karantini area in Baris, and I would say by extension the entire Baris area. Um, my humble pranam to all the pundits that are with us this evening so far, especially my Bade Bhaiya, Bade Satish Deoji, my Palagi, pranam to you, Bhaiya. Thank you for being here with us this evening. It means a lot to the entire family to have you as our officiating priest for the ceremony so far and for being here with us night after night during these most trying times that the family is experiencing right now. Um, to start things off this evening, keeping with the formation we have here, we will hear a pravachan from Panaji a little bit later in the night, but he is a very accomplished and wonderful singer. It's a treat for us to have him here with us this evening, and I would like to ask of him to start this evening's proceedings with a beautiful bhajan. I know he's um, a wonderful tan singer, and I know Anil has been itching to play some tan dholak. So I would like to make a request. I'm not pressuring you or anything, but aapki marzi, whatever you wish. Um, but yeah, I think I know what I probably to hear. Over to you, Panditji.
I don't know if the pressure is on me or on you. Anyway, my most humble palagi pranam sitaram to each and every one of you who has joined us this evening. Once again, it is my honor to be part of this for this wonderful family, which, as I have said time and time again, is like my own family. And this Tumri reminds us of how temporary our life is. Not our true existence, as Babaji said, and as he would have explained many times from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, especially in Dvitiya Adhyaya, especially in chapter 2. We are reminded of the everlasting nature of who we are, but this particular physical existence we have is temporary. And this is what we are being reminded of in this Tumri. And yes, it's a Tumri. And We are reminded that we must praise Bhagavan Shri Ram. It uses Bhagavan Shri Ram as an example. Of course, whichever devata uh, pleases your mind the most. Not that we should have any favorite, but everyone is different. Everybody has their own particular devata that they are drawn to. So this one calls in Bhagavan Shri Ram. Ram Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranam Tatulyam Ramanam Varanane Hare Man Rama ko भजन करो भाई हरे मन राम को भजन करो भाई भजन करो भाई भजन करो भाई भजन करो भाई हरे मन रामा को भजन करो भाई हरे मन रामा को भजन करो भाई राम नाम कबहू न भजले माया में लपटाए राम नाम कबहू न भजले माया में लपटाए भूल गए दुनिया में आकर धन दौलत को पाए भूल गए दुनिया में आकर धन दौलत को पाए हरे मन रामा को भजन करो भाई हरे मन रामा को भजन करो भाई भजन करो भाई भजन करो भाई भजन करो भाई हरे मन रामा को भजन करो भाई हरे मन रामा को भजन करो भाई कर्म जो लिखा है कर्म में जो लिखा है भूल गए चतुराई कर्म में जो लिखा है भूल गए चतुराई प्रभु के दर्शन कैसे पाऊं प्रभु के दर्शन कैसे पाऊं लगा मेरी नेता लगाई हरे मन रामा को भजन करो भाई हरे मन रामा को भजन करो भाई हरे मन रामा भजन करो भाई हरे मन रामा को 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 भजन करो
Yeah, very beautiful indeed, very beautiful indeed. And lots of pressure on Anil there. He did a wonderful job. He did a wonderful job. Anil, I think you have to hang out with Padasate show. What do you think? Yes? Okay. Anil is just blushing over here all the time. But yes, we've seen Anil come a very far way. He's someone that we're very proud of. Anil is an integral part of our organization, Sangeet Samaj, and he's been a wonderful student there. So he shares a wonderful bond with myself and Pandit Satish and Pandit Ganeshwarji and the entire family of Sangeet Samaj. I'm going to do a very short bhajan. It's a bhajan song by Muhammad Rafi. And after which, we will hear from my sister Crystal Prasad, who is here with us this evening. She is in school, of course, and she has some assignments to get completed. But nevertheless, she took the time out to be with us here this evening and to make a contribution. So followed by me, we will have our sister Crystal. मेरे श्याम तेरा नाम बोले मन सुबह शाम मेरे श्याम तेरा नाम बोले मन सुबह शाम मेरे श्याम तेरा नाम बोले मन सुबह शाम मेरे श्याम जब तक तेरा भजन न गाऊं मन पंछी अधुराए उस दिन जग में धूप न निकले उस दिन रात न आए मेरा जीवन तेरी पूजा और न मुझको छूट तुझा कोई काम मेरे श्याम तेरा नाम बोले मन मेरे श्याम तेरा नाम बोले मेरे श्याम तेरे रंग के आगे जगता रंग जगत का फेंका और न कुछ सुनता हूँ जब तू तेरे सुर बंसी का हो जाता है मन वृंदावन तेरे दो चरणों में मोहन मेरा धाम मेरे श्याम तेरा नाम बोले मन सुबह शाम मेरे श्याम तेरा नाम बोले मन सुबह शाम Over to you, my dear sister Crystal. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. It means a lot to myself and the entire family. Over to you, Crystal.
चित देखो शाम मई है जित देखो शाम मई है जित देखो शाम मई है श्याम कुंज बन जमुना श्याम श्याम कुंज बन जमुना श्याम श्याम गगन घटाचई है चित देखो श्याम है चित देखो श्याम सब रंगन में शाम भरो है लोग कहत ये बात नहीं है लोग कहत ये बात नहीं है हो बारी के लोगन की ओ बारी के लोगन की शाम छवि बदल गई है चित देखो शाम मई है चित देखो शाम मई है चंद्र सारवी सार श्याम है मृग मद सार काम बजे है मृग मद सार काम बजे है नीलकंठ को कंठ श्याम है नीलकंठ को कंठ श्याम है मन हो श्याम दे भई है चित देखो श्याम मई है चित देखो श्याम मई है श्याम कुंज बन जमुना श्याम श्याम जमुना श्याम श्याम गगन छई है चित देखो श्याम मई है चित देखो चित देखो चित देखो श्याम मई
Thank you very much, my dear sisters Crystal and Ashley. I didn't know Ashley was there with you as well. I refer to Crystal as a minute powerhouse, and her and Ashley makes the perfect duo. Uh, Absolutely representing girl power over there. They're super, super, super talented girls, and we're very honored to have you both with us this evening. So thank you very much, my two sisters, Ashley and Crystal, for being with us here this evening. Moving forward with the program this evening, I would like to ask of Uncle Bob and Auntie Carmen to make a contribution, after which we're going to hear from Uncle Gautam. So over to you, Auntie Carmen and Uncle Bob. And of course, Auntie Carmen and Uncle Bob, they're joining us all the way from Canada. And what I admire about them is that they're always ready when we call upon them. And they're just there waiting for us to, sorry for them to make their contribution. So I think we caught them a little bit off guard tonight. So we'd like to turn it over to them now. Over to you, Uncle Bob and Auntie Carmen.
Shri Krishna Vishnu Madhukata Bhare Bhaktanukampin Bhagavan Murari Prayasamanglo Keshavalokanath Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Govinda Hare Murari Govinda Govinda Ratangapani Govinda Govinda Mukunda Krishna Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Sri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva Jive Pivasva Mitvitameta Deva Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Akhiya O Akhiya Hari darshan ki pyasi Akhiya Hari darshan ki pyasi Akhiya O Akhiya Hari darshan ki pyasi Akhiya Hari darshan ki pyasi देखो चाहे कमल नयन को देखो चाहे कमल नयन को निश दिन रहत उदासी निश दिन रहत उदासी हरि दर्शन की प्यासी अखियाँ हरि दर्शन की प्यासी केसर तिलक मोतियन की माला केसर तिलक मोतियन की माला वृंदावन के बासी वृंदावन के बासी नेह लगाए क्या गए तन संग नेह लगाए क्या गए तन संग डार गए गल फांसी हरि दर्शन की प्यासी अखियाँ हरि दर्शन की प्यासी अखियाँ ओ अखियाँ हरि दर्शन की प्यासी अखियाँ हरि दर्शन की प्यासी काहे कुमन की को नहीं जानत लोगन के मन हासी लोगन के मन हासी सूरदास प्रभु तुमरे दरस बिना सूरदास प्रभु तुमरे दरस बिना लहे करवत कासी हरि दर्शन की प्यासी अखियाँ हरि दर्शन की प्यासी अखियाँ ओ अखियाँ हरि दर्शन की प्यासी अखियाँ हरि दर्शन की प्यासी अखियाँ 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 हो अखियाँ अखियाँ हो अखियाँ Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you very much for singing that very beautiful bhajan, Makubab Akia Hari Darshan Ki Pyasi. My eyes are thirsty for the vision of you, O Lord. Thank you so much, Uncle Bob and Auntie Carmen and my brother Anil for playing so beautifully. I believe that's his name. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but thank you so much for your contributions night after night. I would like now to pass it on to Uncle Gautam to sing a bhajan for us or to say a few words briefly. Over to you, Uncle Gautam.
Om. 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 My dear family and friends, my sincere condolences again to the Jagdeo family on behalf of the Ramdat family. May night after night, as we listen to this wonderful satsang, that our minds accomplish a higher level of peace every night. For this, I sincerely pray that Sri Ram bless all of us so that we may find that peace within and learn how to accept what is inevitable in our lives. Last night, I spoke a little bit about a concept in Vedanta called prasada buddhi. I'd like to expand a little bit more on that. Because we have prasad after pujas in the form of bhajans, in the form of the vision of the beautiful murtis in our mandirs, and also the physical food that we eat and drink. But prasada buddhi is that knowledge which comes to our intelligence by the grace of Bhagwan. How is that prasada buddhi? The death of a loved one forces us to acknowledge our own mortality, something which we avoid dealing with throughout our everyday life. At this time of mourning, we also look at our own mortality. And the prasad that is being given by the deceased is the ability for each and every one of us to examine our own mortality and accept it. In this acceptance of our mortality, we are able to accept the passing of a loved one. And so this is prasada buddhi in one aspect. There are many other aspects to look at. We also come to recognize that I, Atma, never born, never die, never had a beginning, will never have an end. When we are able to shift our identity consciousness from this body and mind, which we label as Gautam or Bob or Yogesh, to the identity of Atma, which is essentially Bhagwan, then we come to realize that from this identity consciousness, our prayers are very successful because we have a direct connection to the Lord. The Lord resides in us. So through our bhakti devotion, we are able to access this. Now, this bhakti devotion is an emotional connection to God. When this emotional connection is balanced with our intelligence, the buddhi and the manas become balanced. Then we have a very stable and perfect personality. So we are enjoined to study the scriptures. As a matter of fact, this is one of the daily yajnas that we should perform. Study the scriptures, Rishi Yajna. There are others that our Pandits will tell us about. Every day we do our regular puja, we should also open our Ramayana or Bhagavad Gita and read. Now, also I touched on the topic of pranayama and japa. Japa is a repetition of the name of the Lord or your sacred Guru mantra. Valmiki, before he became Valmiki, had many impurities of the mind, and by repeating the name of Rama for many years, long time, he became Valmiki. So depending upon at what level of evolution or at a spiritual evolution we are, that is the level of japa that we have to perform to cleanse the impurities from the mind. And so there's one technique of japa that I would like to share. For example, let's take the chosen mantra of Valmiki. Rama, two akshar, two syllables, Ra and Ma. So the name is Rama. But if you are doing the name Rama, you will find that you will say Rama, 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 Rama if you're doing Japamala. But there's a space between each name. In the space, it is a silence. In the beginning, you will say Rama, 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 Rama. As you advance in japa, you go Rama, space, Rama, space, and along the way, the space becomes bigger than the name. In the silence of that space is where we come to find some connection with Atma within. My language of you saying connection is totally incorrect, but it's the best that I can find. Because Atma is so close to us, so intimate with us, there is no room for a connection. It is who we really are. So to access this, it is the silence of meditation. Now, when you combine pranayama, which is the yogic science of breath control, all you do in your japa is pay attention to your breathing. If the mind switches from the breathing, it goes to the japa. If it switches out of the japa, it goes back to the breathing. And so back and forth, the practitioner is able to track the mind between the breath and the name. And this name of Ram, Tulsidas writes that it has the capacity to be greater than Ram himself in the age of Kali Yuga. And it cleanses all the impurities and gives us antakarna shuddhi, which is purity of the mind. So with these few words, I would like to say thank you for listening, and please join me in a little short bhajan. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sita Ram. Jai Jai Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sita Ram. Sita Ram, Jai Sita Ram, Bajuman Pyare Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jai Sita Ram, Bajuman Pyare Sita Ram, Jai Jai Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram. Patita Pavan Sita Ram. Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om. Tat Sat Hari Om.
Thank you very much for your contribution this evening, Uncle Gautam. Your explanations of the scriptures and for singing for us so beautifully. It means a lot to the entire family. I would now like to call upon Uncle Sabas and Auntie Sati and the boys to make their contribution, which will be followed by my dear brother, Brother Satish Deo, who will be giving us the provision for this evening. So over to you, Uncle Sabas, Auntie Sati, and the boys. Okay, I believe we're having some technical difficulties on their end. I would like to sing a bhajan instead, just to keep things going this evening, after which we will hear from our dear Panditji Satish Deo. This bhajan is another favorite of my dear late Chacha's. It's also a bhajan sung by Anuj Jalota, and I'd like to ask my dad to sing with me. It's a bhajan dedicated to Durga Ma, so we hope you enjoy. Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jagdeo, Jai Jagdeo Ma. Oh, Jagdeo, Jai Jagdeo Ma. God of गौरवशाली वैभवशाली तुझको करूं प्रणाम जगदम्बे जगदम्बे जय जगदम्बे मां
गौरवशाली वैभवशाली तुझको करूं प्रणाम
जगदम्बे जय जगदम्बे मां ओ जगदम्बे जय जगदम्बे मां जय मुझे बचा के पीड़ाओं से दर्द हस्त जो तेरे मंदिर आते जाते पाँव तके ना मेरे जय माँ जय
मुझे बता दे पीड़ाओं दर्द हस्त जो तेरे मंदिर आते जाते पाँव तके ना
हो तूने माता सदा बनाए मेरे जिगरे को हो जगदम्बे जय जगदम्बे गौरवशाली वैभवशाली तुझको करूं प्रणाम जय जगदम्बे जगदम्बे जय जगदम्बे तेरी महिमा मैं क्या गाऊं सारी दुनिया जाने उसको दिखता कभी न तेरे जो कोई तुझको माने जय माँ जय माँ जय माँ
तेरी महिमा में क्या गाऊं सारी दुनिया जाने तुझको दिखता कभी लगे जो कोई तुझको
हो तेरे दो चरणों में देखे मैंने चारों धाम जगदम्बे
गौरवशाली वैभवशाली
तुझको करूं प्रणाम जगदम्बे जय जगदम्बे मां जगदम्बे जय जगदम्बे मां माता तेरे सुमिरन में कैसा अमृत पाया मोह जगत से दूर हुए भय कोई न मन में आया जय माँ जय माँ जय माँ
तेरे सुमिरन में ये कैसा अमृत पाया मोह जगत से दूर हुए भय कोई न मन में आया
हो तुम तो जाओ माता शुभ गौरवशाली वैभवशाली उसको कर Thank you very much, Papa, for singing so beautifully with me. I would like to now hand it over to my dear brother, Brother Jagdeo, for giving us the permission for this evening. Over to you, Brother Jagdeo.
Dhanyavad. Bhayaji, my dear brother, it's always an honor to be in satsang with you, with all of you who I have the honor of being with physically, and also those of you who are on virtually also. I repeat the remarks I made earlier, whereby I said how I feel that I'm part of this family, and that is why I'm especially glad to be here. You know, it is a long time what has been going on that we have been able to be in physical satsang, and this is not complete physical satsang, but partially I'm feeling that same vibration back again by actually being here. Before I commence pravachan taken from the pages of the Srimad Garuda Puran, which is essentially a dialogue between Mahavishnu Bhagavan and Garuda, the vehicle of Lord Vishnu, we can say, the bird upon which he rides. In the first chapter, Garuda has asked Lord Vishnu that I have heard about Bhakti Marga, that when human beings are upon this earth, there are many paths they can take. Bhakti Marga, devotion, the path of devotion in Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, it is referred to as Bhakti Yoga. I've heard about all of this, but what about Yama Marga? What about the pathway towards Yamaraj? That is a pathway every living being has to tread, and yet we are scared to talk about this. This is a fact. This same Garuda Puran here, people are scared to even touch it. They say this book, you mustn't ever purchase this book or read it or anything. But if we don't, then how are we going to learn what to do when these occasions happen? And these occasions are inevitable. There's nothing we can do to prevent it from happening. But before I actually read the shlokas, let us offer some pratna to that same Mahavishnu Bhagavan, who is the main speaker of Garuda Puran. Atasi pushpa sankasham pitavasa samachyutam ye namasyanti govindam natesham vidyate bhayam hiranyagarbha purusha Vyakta Vyakta Swarupini Asya Pretasya Mokshartha Suprito Bhava Sarvada Krishna Krishna Kripalo Tvam Agatina Gatir Bhava Samsararnava Magnanam Prasida Purushottama Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The first shloka of this chapter reads Garuda Uvacha Dashagatra Vidhim Brahmi Krito Kim Sukritam Bhavet Putra Bhavetu Kavpurya Ditimeva Dakeshava ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। अर्थात कि गरुड़ बोले, हे केशव, दश गात्र की विधि कहिए, उसके करने से क्या क्या सुकृत होता है, और पुत्र के ना होने पर कौन करे, ये मुझको कहिए. It starts off with the question, this adhyay. We know Srimad Bhagavad Gita started with a question as well on the part of, doubts in the mind of Arjuna. And in fact, yes, Bhagavad Gita starts with a question by Dhritarashtra. That is the first shloka. So all of our shlokas start off with a question, meaning that we have to have that inquiring mind, otherwise our knowledge cannot increase. So Gaur asks a question, Dashagatra ki vidhi kahiye. What is the procedure involved in Dashagatra? That is what we're going to be doing tomorrow, actually. This is what is done 10 days after the cremation. And we explained on the previous day when we read from Ramayana, the Chaupai from Ayodhya Khan in Ramayana, the reason why we count from cremation day and not from the date of death. We might come to the conclusion when the soul left the body, that is a relevant time. But actually, it is when the body is committed to Agni Bhagavan, that is a relevant time to come. We established that on a previous night, so I just make a passing reference to it now. But since that is what we're going to be doing tomorrow, that is what I decided to read from this chapter, which focuses on that particular ceremony. So before I continue with a couple of more shlokas, let us examine what does that word Dashagatra mean in Sanskrit. Well, Dasham in Sanskrit became Das in Hindi, which all of us will know is the number 10. Gatra in Sanskrit means limb or part of the body. That is the meaning of the word Gatra. So really what the name of this ceremony is 10 parts of the body. And I can't remember if I said this before, but I will repeat it again because it's important, even if I did say it before, that over the course of 10 days, when this physical body is cremated, the Atma needs a new body. Panditji Satyanand Sharma also discussed about how long it takes to get a human body back again. But this body we are talking about here is not the next human body. This is an invisible body. On the first day, the head forms. The second day, the neck and the shoulders and arms form. The third day, the chest forms, and so on and so forth. It goes a gestation period of 10 days. And then our dear Chacha John will finish forming his new body tomorrow. That is what Dasagatra is about. The formation of 10 parts of his new body, which will be the vehicle, as it were, to carry him towards the realm of Yamraj. So a few points about the procedure of how this should be done. Kupe tada devarame tirthe devalaye piva Gatva madhyamayame tu snanam kuryada mantrakam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. कुएं में, तालाब में अथवा बगीचे में, तीर्थ और देवालय में जाकर मध्यम पहर में बिना मंत्र स्नान करें. So the first thing that Mahavishnu Bhagavan tells Garuda about this is the location as to where this should be done. This is important. Location is key. Location is very important. Even when you're buying a house, you know the location can make so much difference. So everything we do in life, think about location, think about time. These are two essential elements, and both of these are addressed in this shloka. He says, "Kue me," that means by a well. We don't use well nowadays because we have pipe in the house, but in these times, a well would have been a place to do this dasgatra. Talab me, talab means a pond or a body of water. Bagiche me, a garden outside. Tirtha, and even a place of pilgrimage. Like in India, you have Kashi, you have Prayag, you have Haridwar, all of these places. A place like that you can go to. Devalaya me. Devalaya, what this refers to is, in your yard, you would have a mandir constructed, not here, and even in Guyana, not today too, the way the houses are being built. But traditionally, we are supposed to have some kind of a structure in the yard outside of our home. When I say outside, I mean outside of the main house, like in the same yard, which is dedicated to the worship of Bhagwan. Any of these places, the emphasis is that we should try to do it outside of the home, because this thing which we call chut is still in effect, and it is not appropriate to perform any kind of ceremonial worship inside of the home, and that is why we are advised to do it outside of the house. But another point I want to note from this, there are so many alternatives that are given here. It doesn't say only by the waterside, it could be anywhere outside. So what it means is that Sanatan Dharma is somewhat flexible in terms of that we understand that there are changing circumstances, changing times, and we can adapt to those changing times. I would even interpret this to mean, imagine you are in New York in January, February, there's a foot of snow outside. You think you will be condemned if you cannot go outside and do it? In those circumstances, we have to adapt to whatever situation we have. So that is a point of Sanatan Dharma as well. It is adaptable. But I'm not saying that there are certain things which must not be forgotten, but we can adapt and change. The time now, that is location. Time. Madhyam Pahar mein bina mantra snan kare. So when it says Madhyam Pahar, this is the time of day. It is not when the sun has just risen. That is not that's the first prahar. When it says go on to the next prahar, that is approximately, not exactly, but approximately between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. That is the time window you have to perform this shraddha. One of the reasonings given behind this is that these type of ceremony, you do not want any kind of rakshas or any being like that to disturb you at all. So that is a time of day when they are least alert. If you wait for a time like now to do a ceremony of that nature, it would more easily attract them. That is a reasoning given here. So it is better to do it that particular time of the day. And we all know, of course, that 10 pindas would be offered. Again, in olden times, one pinda would be offered from the time of cremation, one every day over the course of 10 days. That's how it would be done. But nowadays we have adapted, as I said. Remember that word I used. We have adapted ourselves according to the situation we are in, and instead we do all 10 on the last day. So what else has to be done on this day besides the offering of the pindas? We have heard so much about that already, and the location and the time and everything else which I discussed. What else has to be done on this particular day? We will hear in this next, the last couple of shloka actually. Dashami divasi kshoram Bandhavana chamundanam kriya karto sutasyapi punar mundana macharit. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. दसवें दिन सब बांधव मुंडन करावे और क्रिया करने वाले पुत्र का भी फिर मुंडन करावे। 10 दिन तक एक ब्राह्मण को मिष्टान भोजन करावे और हाथ जोड़ हरि का ध्यान करके प्रेत की मुक्ति की प्रार्थना करे। In this last shloka which I have read now, it talks about a particular thing. Dashwe din sab bandhan mundan karave. What does that word mundan mean? It is the shaving of the head. That is an important element of this. Again, this is something in modern times which is, seems to not be compulsory anymore. But this shloka is highly recommending it. Why? Because if we study Bhagavad Gita, and Pidaji will tell you this better than me, if you study Bhagavad Gita, you realize that the true self is not this body. That's a mistake Arjuna was making. He's worrying about these people, their heart will stop beating, they will die in that sense. But Krishna Bhagavan is saying that is not the true self. You're not recognizing what is the true self. So at a time like this, we have to think more spiritually rather than physically and materially. Now, out here, it is said, according to the logic given here, is something which binds us to materialism. Why? Because when you have a nice length of hair, you have to take time and wash it and style it and keep it very nice. So that means we're worried about the physical aspect of our appearance. Whereas if all that is gone now, generally we tend to want to have hair rather than not want to have it, right? I'm sure otherwise, you know, all these products to thicken your hair would not exist if that were not true. So by shaving the head, we are moving away from that physical aspect of who we are. We're not concerned with how we physically look, and that way we remove that distraction and think only of the spiritual aspect. And the son who is doing the Shraddh is especially advised to do this. But it also says in solidarity, other male relatives too. That's what it said here. Other male relatives also can participate in this and at least cut their hair in some way. You know, I didn't intentionally intend for my hair to be this low, but this happened for a reason, right? I'm in solidarity with you all, and that's probably why my hair ended up this very short length. But on a very serious note, that is what Garu Quran is recommending, and that is actually a part of the ceremonial aspect of the Das Gatra, of the 10th-day ceremony. The shaving of the head. This is supposed to be done before the actual ceremony is started. So this is something for all of us to bear in mind too. It's not just a tradition, a meaningless tradition. It has a deep significance behind it. Everything we do has a deep significance. So the bottom line is of what we're doing tomorrow. We are praying that this body, this next body, this Prayatna Sharir, this invisible body that our dear Chacha John will be forming tomorrow, will be strong and healthy and will carry him towards Yamraj. And then what the shloka also said, and I just mentioned this very quickly, that traditionally a different, not the Purohit normally would not do it, but again we adapting today. Nowadays the Purohit does it. But in times gone by, a special individual called the Mahapatra would do this. Patra means medium. The Mahapatra is like a medium between the family who are left behind and the departed Atma. He accepts things on behalf of them. When umbrella is given to him, it is understood that the Atma will enjoy the shade of that umbrella if he should go in a very sunny, hot place or a rainy place. The lamp, if he should ever encounter darkness, when the Mahapatra receives that lamp, the benefit goes to the Atma and so on and so forth. And when you have to feed the Mahapatra as much as he can eat and massage his belly so he can digest and eat even more food, all of that energy from all that food is supposed to go to the departed Atma as well. But as I said, that practice has all but died out right now. But Mahavishnu Bhagavan says that it all have, the special gifts that are given on that day have deep significance as well. So that is all I have to say about the Das Gatra. On other nights, other pandits will be on to discuss the other aspects of Shraddh and what happens at times like this. But once again, I would like to thank my dear brother, my dear Pitaji, for having me be part of this. And I just say one prayer for the moksha specifically of the departed Atma. Narayana Swara Shrestha Lakshmi Kanta Varaprada Anena Tarpane Nath Preta Moksha Prado Bhava. रामनाथ सत्य है, यही सबका घट है.
Thank you very much, my dear brother, for this invitation. Thank you very much for sharing such pertinent information during these most trying times. You know, many a times people ask questions as to why we do the things we do when it comes to Hinduism. And I think your explanations this evening would have cleared up a lot of questions that many people would have had. I hope they were all listening carefully as I was, especially when it comes to, um, as you said in the end about the Mahabharata, right? Many people see it as a funny thing because here's a guy who will come and eat a whole lot of food. And as you said, you have to massage his belly so he can eat some more and all of that. But everything in Hinduism has a significance behind it. Sometimes it's not explained properly, and this is why we tend to make fun of certain practices and rituals that we have. But it's very important to understand it. And I think of you as the Garud Puran specialist because in my time I've went to a lot of wakes and I've attended a lot of funerals and shrines and all these things. But very few pundits nowadays tend to touch the scripture and to elaborate on it. But if it's one thing I know you do, especially when these occasion arises, you're the one to delve into the pages of the Garuda Puran and explain to us properly what needs to be done. For that, we thank you very much, as this information is much needed during these times. To move forward this evening, I would like to call upon, I believe, Uncle Subhas and family has joined us again. I would like to extend our condolences on behalf of our family to theirs for their death as well. And I'd like to thank them for taking the time off for being with us this evening. Ask of them to make their contribution. Over to you, Uncle Subhas and family.
सब कुछ ये आपके और भेंट करूं क्या गाऊं? नमस्कार पावे राम कहीं श्री राम कहीं राम कहीं श्री राम कहीं राम कहीं हमारे कुल कोई ना राम कहीं हमारे कुल कोई ना राम कहीं हमारे कुल कोई ना
Thank you so much, Auntie Sati and the boys, for and Uncle Subhas, of course, for presenting so melodiously for us this evening. And as I said before, we'd like to thank you guys for being with us night after night um, and making your presentations. Without much further ado, I would like to ask my Puatara to make her contribution this evening. Over to you, Puatara. After which, I'm not sure if Satanada is ready, but I would like to ask of him to say a few prayers, make some brief comments. Over to you, Puatara.
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Yes.
Good night, Sitaram, to each and every one of you. Thank you again for being with us at this time of our bereavement. And last night I said thank you to a few people. However, tonight I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all the pundits who have graced us with their presence night after night, who have shared their thoughts from the scriptures, and Pandit Satesh, who has done a wonderful job in explaining what the Shrad is all about and how it can benefit the soul, both the dead and the living. I want to thank Pandit Satyanand Sharma for his contribution. He knows that he's a beloved Pandit in our family. And I cannot remember a time when we were without the Sharmas or the Sharmas was without us. We're just part and parcel of each other. And I will cherish that relationship very much. And I also must thank Pandit Ganesh. I will call him the faithful one. He has stepped in when my mother passed away and have filled a void. And he's here with us now. How can we say thank you to all these great men who have participated? May God grant you continued blessings and buddhi in your religion. Mali chided or ki kaise Mali chided or ki kaise द्वार तुम्हारी आओ, हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे, मन ही मन शर्माओ, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे तूने मुझको जग में भेजा, निर्मल दे कर खाया, आकर की संसार में मैंने इसको दाग लगाया, जन्म जन्म की मैली चादर कैसे दाग छुड़ाऊं, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आओ, हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे, मन ही मन शर्माओ, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे निर्मल वाणी पाकर तुझसे नाम न तेरा गाया, मैं मूंद कर हे परमेश्वर कभी न तुझसे ठाया, मन विना की तारा टूटी, अब क्या गीत सुनाऊं, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आओ, हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे, मन ही मन शर्माओ, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे इन पैरों से चल कर तेरा मंदिर कभी न आया, जहाँ जहाँ हो पूजा तेरी कभी न शीश झुकाया, हे हर हर मैं हर की आया, अब क्या हाथ छुड़ाऊं, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आओ, हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे, मन ही मन शर्माओ, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आओ, हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे, मन ही मन शर्माओ, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे. Thank you very much, Yogi, my son, and to all the Pandits, my salutation. God bless until we meet again tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Putara. Thank you so much for singing so beautifully. As I always tell you, you're my favorite female singer, and I really mean that. Next, I would like to call upon our Kulguru, Pandit Satyanand Sharma, to say a few prayers, make some brief remarks. Just before he makes his presentation this evening, I would like to say that I'm blessed to have been in the company or to be in the company of these great giants. You know, people like my dad, my Chacha John, Satandara, um, Uncle Krong from our village, Uncle Subas. You know, we grew up as little boys at number 73 village, admiring these um, giants, as I call them. And I'm blessed that I was able to share the stage, if you will, with each and every one of them so far. Chacha John's passing has brought back a lot of old memories from when I was a child. Um, and I remember many times when I sung with him, many times when I witnessed that A team that I just called in action at many different pujas and functions at the mandir. Um, so I would like to beg of Satyanara to share at least one memory that he's had, whether it's a jovial one or not. I know there's a lot of jovial ones because Shachajan was that type of a person. He was always cracking jokes and he was always being very jovial. But I would like to ask him to share a memory from those old days, if he can. Over to you, Satyanara, and thank you for inspiring me, especially for so many years. Over to you.
Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. Thank you, Yog, my brother Madan Bhai, the rest of the siblings, Auntie Kumar, the children, and the grandchildren. Again, this evening we want to ask Bhagavan to give inspiration to all of them. These are difficult times, and but before I do so, as Yogi said, to share a joke, I'm thinking, because like you rightly said, there are so many. I'm not sure which one to point out to. Some are longer than some. But before I do so, I do want to profusely thank Pandit Sateshji, who has done an excellent job. Job may not be the right word. Sharing from Gard Puran this afternoon, like Yogi rightly said, that these are questions that are always asked, and I'm sure, if not all of them, most of them would have been answered this afternoon in that short span of time that he is delivered. And Panditji, don't worry, your hair looks great. You know, you never miss the water until the well runs dry. So if you are a little bit taken aback about your hair, just think of my hairstyle and it will bring tremendous joy to you for the hair you have right now. And the other observation I made is that I think Yogi conveniently only heard one part of your katha, the part that has to do with eating. You know, no offense, Yog, but at least you're listening. So there's so many things to share. I always wanted to catch up with Johnny to give him a hard time about one thing. Interestingly, this joke has to do with me, and it was sung like tooting my horn, but I just cannot think of another thing that I wanted to harass him about. Because I knew coming to, you know, when he came to New York first, whenever I catch up with him, I'll know everything that transpired from the last time I met him in the village to when he came. Everything funny that happened in the village, I would have known. And so I didn't get to, but there was a cricket match in 69 village. There was I don't remember, it was a new cricket field on the eastern side. You had to go far behind. Madan Bhai would know that ground. And there was a smaller ground. And we went there, and a 15 over match was just being introduced. And we were playing like a few teams playing in a 15 over match. And for some reason or the other, John is, you know, as ferocious as he was as a bowler, I don't know what went into his head, and he this is something I share with the other boys when they're talking of themselves about cricket. By no stretch of the imagination am I a great fieldsman, right? I'm just like a guy who makes up numbers in the team. Johnny put me at forward short leg. I think that's the name of the position. And he's steaming into the batsman. I cannot remember the name of the batsman. And it was a big guy, a strong guy. and the guy made a full-blooded drive. And Johnny's delivery. It was a 15 over match, so we had to save every run. And I realized I had about a half a second. And please, this is not about me. I'm trying to make this point, how funny it was. A full-blooded drive, and I think it was God's intervention that day that I managed to see this ball coming straight to my head. I was just a few feet away, and a full-blooded drive from a big, strong guy. A guy from 69 Village, curly hair, dark skin. I can't remember his name. All I could have thought was, let me save my face. And I just, what do you call it? Anyways, very quickly I reacted and put my hands like covering my face. And the next thing I knew, the ball was stuck in my hands. For Johnny, that was, in his words, the best catch that was taken in his bowling career. He told me that. But the funny thing about it is that when I took that catch, even Johnny didn't realize that the guy was out because it happened so quickly. And he lifted me up on his shoulder and ran with me in the whole cricket field. And he wasn't putting me down and like. But the reason why I wanted to meet him was he told me that was the best catch. So I wanted to meet him again and remind him that that's still the best catch, right? So that's just one little thing I wanted to share. Whenever I met him, I asked him, you remember that catch? And then he would hug me up and make some huge laughs. And he'll tell somebody about the whole thing, even though he told them 12 times already. Whoever was there, he'll repeat the whole story. So yeah, we shared some great times. I don't know if you was at the game, but Madan Bhai was there. So if I knew you was going to ask me to share a joke, I can come up with 12 of them. But maybe tomorrow night I'll share some jokes about Johnny. So at this time, these happy memories, these positive memories, positive energies going out to the traveling of his soul would also help him. In addition to that, let us ask Bhagavan to bless the travels of the soul. As Panditji said that tomorrow the Dashgatra will be complete, and so he'll have a more comfortable travel in his Suksham Sharir. We ask Bhagavan to bless Auntie Kumari, the children and grandchildren, the boys and the siblings. I also want to say to Auntie Tara that when she mentioned our family, the feelings are mutual, always has been and will always be. So thank you for those kind words as well. Shall we pray? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Karacharana Kutamba Kayajam Karmajam Va Sravananainajam Va Manasam Va Paradam Vihitam Vihitam Va Sarvame Takshamasva Jai Jai Karunabdhe Sri Mahadeva Shambho Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandaya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namah Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanurmardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadagurum Krishnam Vande Jagadagurum Krishnam Vande Jagadagurum Krishnam Vande Jagadagurum हरि ओम शांति शांति शांति। वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। Thank you.
Thank you very much, Satanara, for doing exactly what I expected of you. Your chanting absolutely always puts us in a very meditative mood. And that is something, I guess, that we have inculcated after so many years of listening to you. And also for doing exactly what I wanted you to do in terms of sharing these jovial memories that we all have with our dear late Chacha John. In regards to the comment about hair, I just want to say that from the man who had the perfect brush back in the 90s, well, here we have it now. You had us cracking up here. Thank you for that. I would like to turn the microphone over to my dear Papa to sing another song for us, which will be followed by our customary bhajan, Jai Krishna Hare, and then we will close off this evening's proceedings with some prayers by our dear Brother Satish Deoji. As we know, tomorrow is a working day and we don't want to go too late. Over to you, Papa.
This song is asking, where do the people go? Those who have left us? जाने चले जाते हैं कहाँ? Where have they gone? कैसे ढूंढो कोई उनको, नहीं कदमों को भी निशान. He says, they have not, like an animal, when you're tracking an animal, you follow their footprints. These who have departed, they have left no footprints for us to follow. So the poet is wondering aloud, where do they go? वो जाने चले जाते हैं कहाँ, दुनिया से जाने वाले जाने चले जाते हैं कहाँ, कैसे ढूंढे कोई उनको, नहीं कदमों के भी निशान. दुनिया से जाने वाले जाने चले जाते हैं कहाँ, कैसे ढूंढे कोई उनको, नहीं कदमों की भी निशान. दुनिया से जाने वाले जाने चले जाते हैं कहाँ. जाने है वो जाने है वो कौन नगरिया, आए जाए घटना के बढ़िया, के याद आए होठों के फरियादे, जाके फिर न आने वाले चले जाते हैं कहाँ, दुनिया से जाने वाले जाने चले जाते हैं कहाँ, कैसे तुम्हें कोई उनको, नहीं कदमों के भी निशान. दुनिया से जाने वाले जाने चले जाते हैं कहाँ.
चले जाते हैं कहाँ, दुनिया से जाने वाले जाने चले जाते हैं कहाँ, कैसे ढूंढे कोई उनको नहीं कदमों के भी मिलता, दुनिया से जाने वाले जाने चले जाते हैं कहाँ।
मेरे बिछड़े मेरे बिछड़े जीवन साथी साथी जैसे दीपक बाती मुझसे बिछड़ गए मैं सावन की जाते ही गए उनके बादल काले काले जाने चले जाने कहाँ
कैसे कोई उनको नहीं कदमों के भी मिलता, दुनिया से जाने वाले जाने चले जाते हैं कहाँ, कैसे ढूंढे कोई उनको नहीं कदमों के भी मिलता, दुनिया से जाने वाले जाने चले जाते हैं, जाने चले जाते हैं, जाने चले जाते हैं कहाँ। Please join us as we sing customary bhajan, Jai Krishna Hare. तू चाहे तो सब कुछ कर दे, विष को भी अमृत कर दे,
तू चाहे तो सब कुछ कर दे विष को भी अमृत कर दे
पूरन कर दे उनकी आशा,
पूर्ण कर दे उनकी आशा
जो भी तेरा ध्यान धरे,
जो भी तेरा ध्यान धरे
जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, ओ जय कृष्ण हरे श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे, जय 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 कृष्ण जब चारों तरफ अंधियारा हो, आशा का धूप किनारा हो,
जब चारों तरफ अंधियारा हो, आशा का धूप किनारा हो,
और कोई न केवल हारा हो,
और कोई न केवल हारा हो,
फिर तू ही मेरा पाक
जय जय जय
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे जय जय श्री कृष्ण हरे तेरे दर्शन को मैं तरस रहा तेरे नाम की माला जपत रहा तेरे दर्शन को मैं तेरे नाम का माला जपत रहा भव सागर से मेरी नैया ऐसे मैं भव पार करूं कैसे मैं पार करूं जय जय कृष्ण हरे जय कृष्ण हरे श्री कृष्ण हरे दुखियों को दुख दूर करे जय 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 कृष्ण जय जय कृष्ण जय जय कृष्ण हरे Just before I hand it over to Panisatesh Ji to do the closing prayers for us this evening, I would like to apologize to those of you who would normally uh, tune in to us via YouTube. For some reason rather, Zoom wasn't letting us go live on YouTube this evening. We'll try again tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll get it by then. If not, I will upload these nightly sessions to the YouTube channel Jagdeo Residence for your viewing pleasure later. I would like to also thank my brother Anil for being with us night after night and for helping out in more ways than one, and for also being the person that he is. Anil. He's always humble, willing, and he's a wonderful person. And I thank you for that, my brother. And also to my younger brother Yadu for being here, also helping out in the Dantal. He's not in the frame, but he's behind the scenes doing his part. And mostly, I would like to thank my brother, Pani Sateshji, once again for being the officiating pundit in the ceremonies for the family, and also for his undying support and for his wonderful years of friendship and brotherhood that we've shared thus far. Over to you, Pani Sateshji.
Dhanyawad, thank you for those wonderful words, and I would like to echo all the thanks that were given. Let us all join in a few moments of final prayer, supplicating the Almighty Bhagavan that as Chacha John will assume a new form tomorrow, may the formation of this new body go as it should go, and may his journey, which will start in a few days after that, also go without any obstruction and hindrance. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva tvameva vidya द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं देव देवा नारायण सुरश्रेष्ठ लक्ष्मीकांत वरप्रदा अनेन तर्पणेनाथ प्रेत मोक्ष प्रदो भवा अतसी पुष्प संकाशम पीतवास समच्युतम् येन मस्यन्ति गोविन्दम् न तेषां विद्यते भयम् अनादिनिधनो देव शङ्खचक्र गदाधर अक्षय पुण्डरीकाक्षम् प्रेत मोक्ष प्रदो भव प्रेत मोक्ष प्रदो भव प्रेत मोक्ष प्रदो भव ओम द्योः शान्तिरन्तरिक्षं शान्ति पृथिवी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्ति वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्विश्वे देवाः शान्तिर्ब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सामा शांतिरेधि ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम। राम नाम सत्य है, राम नाम सत्य है, राम नाम सत्य है, यही सबका घट